Uncle Stegosaurus here, and this week's movie is Companion. You know what's funny? If you had asked me 2 years ago if I liked horror movies, I would have said not really, but lately you'd be forgiven for thinking it's my favorite genre. There is a lot of good stuff happening in horror right now, and Companion is definitely contributing to that. I personally hold the belief that the best horror stories are a commentary on the darkest parts of our society, representing the time that they're made better than any other type of film. They turn our fears and anxieties into monsters and cautionary tales. So, what facet of our modern society does Companion tackle? Well, it's got a few targets: fears of unshackled AI, how sour relationships can be with uneven power dynamics, and asking the age-old question, is a robot more than just a thing when it's capable of thinking and feeling on its own? So these may make the film sound more sci-fi than horror, and I would say that while there are definitely sci-fi elements, they are downplayed, only really focused on when needed to explain the mechanics of the world. What the story is really about is a heist gone wrong, and I would also classify it more as a pitch black comedy with some light horror elements sprinkled in. The tropes are there, but if you're into horror for just the scares, I don't think Companion's really gonna scratch that itch for you. Our story starts off with Josh and his girlfriend Iris heading to a remote house to meet up with some friends. We spend a little bit of time getting to know the cast of characters, while the film almost jokingly throws out the least subtle clues possible that Iris is not what she appears. After a night of dancing to 80s music, the following morning the owner of the house tries to force himself on Iris, which ends with her stabbing him and Josh quickly shutting her down. So this is our big reveal that Iris is a robot. We get a little backstory on how the Companions work, which adds a little fun sci-fi element to the story. What I find funny is Josh makes the cardinal sin that all James Bond villains make. Instead of erasing her memory as he said he was going to do, he keeps her operational so that he can brag about his plan and reminisce with her. This allows Iris the opportunity to escape, stealing Josh's phone in the process, which essentially gives her control over herself. And we spend the rest of the movie watching our cast of humans attempt to capture Iris. As I mentioned earlier, a big part of this film is its commentary on power dynamics and relationships. The Companions are robots and therefore programmed to feel a certain way. No matter how awful, controlling, or even abusive the owners get, Companions maintain the same feelings of admiration for their owners, and of course you can't have a movie about robots without touching on the subject of being irresponsible with technology. So the plot involves illegally modding Iris so that she is able to harm a person, which is something that Companions are obviously not normally allowed to do. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Terminator. You have these people who think that they're smarter than the things they create, being irresponsible with a piece of technology that has the ability to become incredibly dangerous. But unlike Terminator, you feel for Iris. You want to see her become a person, and you root for her to escape the abusive relationship she's in. Because Iris is not just a machine, she has a personality. But does that make her a person? That's one of the questions that the film asks, and it's up to the viewer what the answer really is. Companion is a breezy 90 minutes, which I believe is the perfect amount of time for this type of movie. The premise doesn't overstay its welcome, and the humor kind of keeps it fun and light. It actually reminded me a little bit of The Menu, not necessarily in the plot, but the way that it was presented, the way that it was done. I also enjoyed the actors, even though they're mostly known for television roles. I think they did a good job in a theatrical setting. Overall, I really enjoyed The Companion. If you enjoy horror movies that put a mirror up to society and skew a little bit more comedic, then there's a good chance that you'll probably enjoy this one.
Are you breaking up with me?
But that's just my opinion. Did you guys see Companion? If you did, let me know what your thoughts were down in the comments, and I'll see y'all next week.